The point I want to make about this section of the city, where you have the office of the president, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, basically this is the center of government in Georgetown, is that I'm getting a lot of comments in the comment section about my commentary on these videos, as if what I'm saying is purely political. And I keep saying this is not a political channel. This is not a forum for arguing about your politics. But most people don't seem to understand what I mean by that. So I'm going to explain that in a few minutes. So maybe 2 minutes. Politics in Guyana is very contentious and portrayed as race-based, as if, the Indian Guyanese support the PPP and the Afro-Guyanese support the PNC, but this is false. The reason why this is false is because there have always been several political parties in Guyana, and not just the PPP and the PNC. So whenever you hear people in the comments, or you see people in the comments talking about PPP and PNC, and if you don't support their view, you must be from the PNC and Burnham, and if you're not, and if you say something favorable, then you must be supporting the government, which is currently the PPP. Well, in fact, this is false. The current political parties are in fact a coalition of almost a dozen or more political parties. And black people and Indian people in Guyana have been members of several political parties besides the PPP. The current PPP is in fact the PPP Civic, which is a coalition of about 4 or 5 political parties. There was the Civic component, which gave us the Prime Minister was chosen from the Civic component, and the President came from the PPP. There was GAP and ROAR. Remember Ravi Dev? He was the leader of ROAR, I believe, or GAP. And so a coalition of GAP, ROAR, Civic, and PPP formed the current government. The APNU is also a coalition, right? So the fact is that the last coalition government, which was elected in 2015, was about 5 political parties that combined. There was the WPA, the PNC, the AFC, and 2 other political parties. Let's see, I can't remember the names. The point I'm making is that, contrary to the people who get on this app and accuse anyone who criticizes the government of being a PNC, they are in fact wrong, incorrect, and ignorant, because Guyana has never had just 2 political parties. A lot of the supporters of the coalition government came from the WPA, and black people have always supported several different political parties. So if you were black in Guyana, you supported Walter Rodney. You were a working class Guyanese, you were for the WPA. If you were, in the early days, if you were a Portuguese or European Guyanese, you were probably a supporter of the United Force. Guyana, I think, was the leader of the United Force at that time. Guyana was, of course, the Banks DIH founder. And if you were an Amerindian, you probably supported the GAP, and so on. So the point is that there are several political parties that have been involved in the government of Guyana. And so when people argue in the comments as if it's an insult to say that you must be from the PNC if you disagree with them, it's actually quite ignorant and stupid, because people in this country have supported many political parties besides the PNC and the PPP. There have been at least 10 political parties that I can think of right now that are part of the two major parties, the coalition government, which was the previous government, and the current PPP Civic. Right, there are at least 5 political parties that are in the coalition that forms the current government, and there are at least 5 political parties in the coalition that formed the previous coalition government. So it's actually quite stupid and ignorant for these people to say that you must be from one or the other political party if you express a view that's different from theirs. Just thought I'd clear up that point here so that people who are not in Guyana, who have not lived here for a while, understand when you read the comments and you read the ignorance and the stupidity, which I keep reminding people, this is not about any political party, because there are dozens of political parties. There are at least 10 of them currently involved in Guyana in running the country. In the distance, let's look west. If you're looking west, as we are right now, you can see the lighted Best Western. That's the Best Western hotel you can see in the distance. And that's Regent Street. As it sets, this is the evening. It's about 6:15 perhaps. 6:15 on Wednesday evening. So yes guys, the point I'm making in this video is that as I review the seat of government, the government district, basically. This is the part of the city where most of the government offices are located. What I'm saying is that for those of you who are not familiar with Guyanese politics and are somehow turned off by the stupid political comments on these videos, don't be misled by people who claim that it's only the PPP or the PNC. This country has always had several political parties, and currently there are at least 10 political parties involved in government, 5 of them forming the current PPP civic government, and at least 5 of them in the coalition government. And therefore you don't have to be PNC or the PPP. You could be any one of those. You could be WPA, you could be AFC, and that is what is missing from what makes it really annoying and stupid when people seem to say that anything that's critical of the current infrastructure must be against the government. No, it's simply an assessment of the current infrastructure that is being built in Guyana. And if it is substandard, you ought to be able to say that it is substandard and needs improvement, because it's real money belonging to the taxpayers in Guyana that is being spent, and not money belonging to any political party. So if I criticize the quality of the work that's being done, it is not a criticism of the government, of the political party, but it is definitely a criticism of the government, and it would be the same for any government, any political party that is leading a government in Guyana. That's the point I'm making, guys. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Just giving you a glimpse of 6 p.m. traffic on Vlisingen Road on a Wednesday evening in Guyana. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing country in the world, Guyana. Later!